Okay, there's the moose. You are with me, Rob Ellen, on IMTV. It's a pop-up medicine show, and I think one of the most interesting ones I've undertaken. We're going to talk in a minute to the proprietor of this establishment, Don, who has an interesting background, not just in Nairn, but also in the history of pop music, particularly in Scotland, but across the musical world through the 80s and into the 90s. Our shop now is on the High Street of Nairn. Nairn is, as any regular viewers will know, my hometown. It's on the Moray coast in the Highlands of Scotland. I've been here for a fabulous month, getting the moose repaired and fixing my computer, which wasn't quite so fabulous. But I'm pleased to say, moose is loose, and this, I'm kind of sad to say, is the last broadcast from Nairn for everybody. So I get to thank everybody for the support for the last month or so, and I get to introduce you to Don Bartlet, whose shop this is. Let's just have a quick look round while Don's attending to a customer. We'll find out more about this shop and delve a bit deeper into Don's. And some people in Nairn won't know this. It's kind of interesting, but some people in Nairn won't know this. We met yesterday just next door in the Highland Way and started talking, and we ended up realising that we had mutual friends in every aspect of the music industry. We had mutual friends in every aspect of... I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Did you...
I like your AHA t-shirt. Thank you.
I know.
Market has aged very well.
He has.
Yeah.
He has. It's very nice.
Yeah. And his voice is still as strong as ever. Right?
Really. Well, everybody takes a mickey out of me, but it's like, well, I've been a fan since '86, and I'm sorry, I'm not stopping now because the music's still good. Yeah. And so so I went and saw them in pre-pandemic. So it was a brilliant show.
They were around not long ago as well, weren't they? They did some dates recently.
They're still touring.
Yeah.
They're still creating albums, and they do their own thing, and then they come together and still have it as a band. So it's good.
So I'm fascinated, Don. I'm fascinated with this shop. We just met yesterday. And I've been involved in music for 30 years, and but turns out that you were involved in music for just about as long.
Just a chance conversation. How funny is that?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I would have missed you yesterday. I was just thinking about this, and I don't know, it could have been divine providence. It might have been.
Well, I shut the shop because nobody came in, and I thought it's Monday morning. I thought I have one customer, that's it. I'm going to go and get a coffee.
Yeah.
There you were.
Yeah, and you've got more than one customer this morning as well. So maybe there's some good fortune. So we're broadcasting live. We're here on IMTV. Your host, Rob Ellen. I'm still in my hometown for those that are just arriving. Please do stay with us, and please, if you're enjoying, why wouldn't you enjoy the conversation? I enjoyed the conversation yesterday immensely. It was amazing, wasn't it?
I know, it's so
How many people do we know? Mutual people.
You know, serendipity is one of my favourite words, but when you gave me your business card, I said, I know you.
I know.
You're a journalist, I'm sure.
Yeah, you were close. I was never, I did it, I've done a bit of writing, but it turns out, for those that aren't aware of this, and I did a wee post, and that went kind of crazy yesterday as well with mutual friends. You were involved at the heart of the Scottish 80s pop revival, rock revival, weren't you?
Yeah.
From London.
Yeah.
As a publicist.
Yeah. Well, I was a fan first and foremost.
That's right.
That's quite similar to my blue one.
I loved all of the Scottish bands like the Bluebells. When the Bluebells supported Haircut 100, that was my introduction to all the other fabulous Glasgow bands through Bobby Bluebell. And one of my friends was going out with one of the musicians as well. So we used to go and see, I think, people like The Big Dish and bands at student unions. I remember seeing Friends Again at so many student union bars.
Would that be in Glasgow?
No, in London, yeah. And I did go up to Glasgow a lot to see gigs and stuff, and I love the Barrowlands, it's my favourite venue. So
I was working with Brian McPhee at Celtic Connections, the guitarist in The Big Dish.
Right. Well, Stephen Lindsay, I think Stephen's another kind of body frame, Justin Curry person. He's so talented. Yeah. And he's also a brilliant painter as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that linked in with me living in there.
Yeah.
And being entrusted with putting on, because I was a promoter at that time, entrusted with putting on warm-up gigs for all these people
how brilliant.
out of the way.
What a brilliant job to do it up here in gorgeous scenery and everything.
So the idea for me was to get to take them to do 2 or 3 gigs and out of the way places up here before you took over and tried to get the publicity in.
No, that's so funny. I mean, I just remember, so many brilliant Scottish bands that you know, like we talked about yesterday, Bourgie, and I remember going to see his latest Frame, Fruits of Passion. I loved. I have to say, a lot of it was to do with Gary Crowley, because he played all of those bands on his radio show at Capital
Radio.
Yeah,
so
he was 19 when he had his radio show. Then I used to ring him up when I was doing my homework.
Edwin Collins, all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Lloyd Cole, can we claim him as being Scottish as well?
Well, I think so. Glasgow. Yeah, I think so.
So who were you working for at the time?
Well, my first proper label job, I worked for Virgin, but it was a subsidiary of Virgin that Branson had invested on all these small labels. So it was called Associated Virgin Labels, and Circa was one of them. Hue Cry's label, and Paul Haig and Gary Clark did his solo album through them.
So Deacon Blue come through all of that.
Well, I never.
And Danny Wilson came through all of that.
Yeah, Danny Wilson was signed to Virgin themselves, but Deacon Blue were with CBS, which is now Sony. Yeah. But I remember going to loads of Deacon Blue gigs as well, as I just thought they're such great songwriters, and the atmosphere was brilliant.
Okay, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole just yet. I want to also talk about how you managed to find yourself there. But before we do that, how did you manage to find yourself here?
Serendipity as well.
Yeah.
I was volunteering at the Highland Hospice shop here.
Yeah.
And my friend was managing it. And
Your dad's from Inverness?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And we talked about doing pop-ups. I did pop-ups in London in my friend's coffee shop, and I'd always loved fashion. Yeah. And then I said to her, I really feel we could do something with fashion, but that helps the community. Yeah. And we're both carers for our parents, and also we were in our 50s and being very challenged by the hormonal changes that were happening. And I said, let's use fashion as therapy, and also homewares, because the shop looks this quirky, because Morphin really should be an interior designer. She's got a great kind of eye for things. And
is she your partner, or is this?
I run the business with her, yes, but she's more interested in the kind of interiors things rather than fashion. So we did a combination of both, and then we applied for some funding, and we managed to get £5,000 worth of funding to help us. So we're coming up to our first anniversary, and it's gone really quickly.
Aye, first year. Yeah. So you're still here, that's optimistic for the first year.
Well, I mean, it's not easy by
It is not easy, any business. But in this climate.
No, and I'm the one that kind of worries about stuff like that, whereas Morphin's very creative and does all of that side of things. Not to say I'm not creative, but it's a long slog to apply for the funding and to have all the meetings and things like that, but really educational as well, because social enterprise, it doesn't matter your age, and I'm 57, so I would be struggling to get a job anyway, and I was working in the library, which I really liked, but I wanted to do put back something, and this was the way that we chose to do it.
Excellent. So I'm going to have a quick scan round. We're in Daisy and Stanley's. I'm going to ask about the name as well in a minute. Which is it's a boutique, isn't it? Isn't it? Am I allowed to say boutique in the 20s, yes. In the new 20s? But it's also a kind of bric-a-brac emporium. It's full of. I mean, every item in here will have a story behind it. One Wally Doug.
Yeah, that's northern, and it tortures our customers because a lot of it is shop props, but it also starts a lot of conversations.
That's right.
About pre-love things and about stuff with history.
Yeah.
And I always love having that conversation with people to find out what they like and what they're wearing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a good kind of introduction, and I think a lot of our customers would like to do their homes. So it's caring the community as well. People do just come. Definitely that.
People do just come in for a chat, don't they?
They do. Yes, they do. But that's part of it, because we signpost people to, you know, kind of listening services or stuff like that, because there's a huge amount available here to help, especially with mental health.
Yeah.
So we signpost people to things, or we just often just listen to them.
And Nairn's really, I mean, you've got the Highland Way next door, which is...
Yeah, that was a big inspiration to us, and we wanted to be here next door to them.
And this end of town, it might be up the dusty end of town a little bit, but there's one or two really interesting facets to Nairn that are starting to take root up here.
Highland Way was an inspiration for us, but also Crafty Wee Birdie.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the best shop in town. And
Which
I
one?
think it's Crafty Wee Birdie down at the end of the Bray, and Vinyl to Vintage.
I know,
as well.
yeah.
And I think there's a lot of creative stuff going on.
Mark Marney's got his studio down there as well.
Yeah.
Of course, the seems to be in a total renaissance at the moment now, with regards culture and music. Because I haven't been out of the bandstand. I haven't had to go anywhere. To find music if I didn't want to, because the bandstand has been, it has come through as a Highlands premier music venue now as well.
That tradition in Scottish culture, though, hasn't there, from songwriting and people singing at parties. And
I think you're right.
I remember Charlene telling me that she used to sing at parties and stuff like that, and then the parents' record collection, you know. And I didn't really necessarily have that with my parents, but.
And we're listening to Charlene as well. For those that might not know, we're talking about Texas and Charlene Spinelli.
It's been amazing, really, looking at their kind of fruition as well, from where, particularly Texas, from where they started, where they are now, and how, you know, what a great songwriter she is.
There's a Nairn connection. They stayed with us from we used to do the. I got them out in their first tour out of the bedroom, really, to warm up for not this one, but nothing out. No, that's Amitrie. What was the name of their first?
I Don't Want to Love Her.
Thank you. So they hadn't hit, and I'd booked them to do 2 or 3 dates round about. We were booking 3-4 tours a weekend. It's nuts when you think of it. And we had the Star Hotel in Nairn to accommodate the acts. They would change the bar staff after they closed because they knew all the musicians were coming in. Crazy time. So they were involved in all of that. And there's a fellow who lives here called Alan Brown, who you'll probably meet. He'll come and say hello, I hope. Alan, come and say hello. And he was a young student and was needing something to do, summer work. So I said, right, okay, here you are, there's the keys of the car, take these guys off to Skye or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was recounting the story to me, like sitting with Charlene in the cafe in Dingwall, doing her homework, helping her with her homework. She wouldn't thank me for that.
That's funny.
So that's where I was here doing this, and you were getting them on the telly.
No, just press, because you know the way it's divided up. You have the press department and radio pluggers and TV pluggers.
Yeah.
But as my career grew, I did a bit of that, but freelance much later on, because it's more cost effective to send one person to do all of those things.
And by that time, you had the contacts to cover it all anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I had a brilliant time, and I think the timing was right because it was music that I loved as well.
Yeah.
So the one thing about being a PR is it's very hard to publicise bands that you don't like, or if you've got a band that you love and journalists which is, I mentioned no names, but that's happened to me rather a lot. You know, it is harder, but for me, I mean, I always wanted to be a journalist, and I knew I couldn't do that, so I did a little bit of it, but I always think, you know, nurturing relationships with journalists is such an interesting part of being a publicist. But now it's so different with influencers, and you know, the whole game has completely changed now. So I was feeling a bit, you know, of a dinosaur within it, and but I had a great time when I did it.
So did you come straight out of college into that job?
No, I was really not academic. And I would, when everyone was studying for their I went to a really posh school, and when everyone was studying to get into Oxbridge, I was reading the NME, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I just had to find a way of getting in. I wanted to do something that was with films, telly, or music, and I got a job at William Morris Actors Agency, which the job title was Girl Friday. But I ended up working with a junior agent, so you get to see all these plays and see these films and everything. But they had a music office in New York, so my boss said to me, look, you should send a report to the New York, because you're going to see all these bands. And I said to him, well, I really want to work for a record company rather than be doing this, because I didn't want to train to be an actor's agent.
Yeah.
It was a bit too lovely for me. And then because I knew all these different Scottish musicians, somebody said to me, you need to meet Leslie O'Toole, because you and her have got a very similar music taste. And
say that name again.
Leslie O'Toole. She was writing for Record Mirror, and she was writing about all the Scottish bands. Yeah. And so I met her, and we went to see Wynne at the Camden Palace. And I
booked David Jings and Dingwall as well. They were a big job. She
lives in LA now, but when I saw her at Christmas, I always say to her, if she'd been a blind date as a man, I would have been married to her, because we just liked so many of the same things.
So you kicked it off.
And she really helped me try and find a PR job. So, and I worked for a little company that was doing plugging and press, and like literally for peanuts. And we got sent the Lilac Time album, and I loved it.
Stephen Duffy.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it.
I did a show in the back bar of the Phoenix. It was one of the first ones that I put in.
Well, obviously he's extremely talented, but they had no money.
Fella.
So I said, I'll do it for free, because I really believed in them. Anyway, journalists absolutely loved the album. Yeah. And they got signed.
I still play that album, that first album.
They got signed to Phonogram Records through that. And I actually messaged him the other day, because I heard the track on the radio, and I just thought, I never knew when I was working the first Lilac Time album how huge Stephen Duffy would be. Yeah. And but actually, weirdly, they helped me get the job at Virgin, because his old PR, when he was Stephen Tintin Duffy, had the press office, and he'd recommended me for a job to her. So that's how it's a very symbiotic thing.
I know. One thing leads to another. So here we are. We're talking, and you're going to show me round the shop in just a minute.
Those Hunter wellies, I'm surprised we still got them, because they're limited edition and made for Glastonbury. And we have
that's rock and roll.
We have a theme where each week we'll have an inspirational woman, and we'll do an outfit. So I had a Kate Moss for when she turned 50 outfit with those, and a blouse that she had arranged for Topshop back in the day, and also a leopard furry coat. And people were commenting on it all the time.
And where did you display this? In the shop window?
We didn't put it in the window. We just hung it as an outfit here, like this week's Inspiring Woman. And
who is it?
It was Kate Moss.
No, this week.
Oh, this week I haven't had a chance to come up with one, but it's usually a topical. If someone's been, they've won an award, like Samantha Morton at the BAFTAs when she made that incredible speech.
Yeah.
And I've been a bit off my game on it for a while, but it's great fun coming up with the different types of women. Like when Iris Apfel died, we had an outfit for her because she was, I think, 103 and one of the world's most stylish people. So
just a thought, Beyonce and country music.
Now, have you heard that album?
I have. I like the album.
Well, I love the single. I just thought it was so brilliant. So I can't wait to hear the album. There's a song with Miley Cyrus from that as well.
I'm not sure on that one, but I put it on thinking, like sometimes you do, let your prejudice go away with you, because she's so famous. It's like, what's she doing in country music? But the quality of the songs just won me over. Yeah. And you know what? She's Texan. So she's going to know more about country music than I am. And although that is my love from Americana.
That performance that she did at Coachella years ago, that's one of the best live things I've ever seen. Yeah. And I watched it on YouTube and just thought, oh my God, the dance routines and everything was so incredible.
And the larger than life character. But it's bringing, what I love about it is it's bringing in a fresh audience to a genre of music that needs a little bit of pepping up, to tell you the truth. Yeah. So let's come back to the music just now. Introduce me to these fellas up here.
Oh, they're Morphin loves vintage children's toys and things. So that's all her. And then we've got the inspiring sides. We also really love quirky children's wear. Yeah. So we have the plus size rail over there, which, for me, being a plus size woman, you have to work much harder to find nice things. So I really enjoy doing that. Yeah. And then we had a £5 rail in January because we knew everyone was,
nobody's got money.
But with the cost of living crisis, we've just kept it because we're really mindful. We don't want anyone coming in that can't afford to buy something. Yeah. And we did specials with jumpers for £5 and we had lots of little old ladies coming in and things like that, just to have to cater for what people need, because all the utility bills going up and the car insurance and everything else. I think there's a real trend now for women buying pre-loved stuff because most of my friends can't afford to buy new things.
And what happens with me is because I travel, every bit of clothing that I own has memories about where I bought it. Yeah. And so that you're selling memories as well. Look at that shirt.
That is a real find. It's the Diane von Furstenberg, and I love it. And I just think it's very rock and roll.
It's stage wear. Somebody's going to have that for stage wear. Is that a ladies' size?
Get it noticed. Yeah, it's a ladies' size 12.
Okay, that's going to sell on the back of this.
Well, I hope so.
Rock and roll.
It's one of my favourite pieces in the shop.
I'm going to have a look at the 40 quid. I mean, you get 40 quid out of that in 5 gigs, I would say.
I would say that's probably £300.
Is that
top? Yeah. So I do think our prices need to go up because it's hard to work with financially. However,
in a place like Nairn as well,
we're really always mindful of what people are going through, bringing up kids, whatever else. And obviously, when there's lots of tourists here, we do really well because we've got a really great selection.
Again, they're collecting memories as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's lovely to have a conversation with people about doing something like this, so it's really enjoyable for us. But, we put a lot of hard work in curating it all, storing it all,
Well, it's lovely to talk to you about it as well. And thanks for allowing me in to do this, because I know that it's the boot and the other foot for the publicist to be on that side of the camera.
That's not my natural forte at all, no.
But so music business-wise, you keep in touch with people?
Yeah, I've still got, my best friend lives in Los Angeles now, but I met him.
And you spent a bit of time out there as well, didn't you?
We both did for work, but I went out at Christmas to see him.
Nice.
And he still works in music. Yeah. And then, some friends, I keep in touch with some journalists as well.
We have some people that follow us in LA as well. So, you never know. You might end up at a gig for some friends of ours out there.
It really makes the job a lot easier when you're working with friends, because you do such long hours, and I don't kind of miss that aspect of it, but I kind of miss the hotels and the travel, because what a way to see the world, you know.
So before we leave the music side of things, and I'm aware that you're actually working as well, so particularly interested. I mean, you were working for the Scottish artists as well, but you were going off in junkets as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I've done. I mean, a lot of the bands I worked with were American as well, which is very handy for me because that's my favourite place. So I was always off somewhere with some bands, and you know, not always just New York and LA, but you know, a lot of other sides of America. And you know, I really look back now and I think I kind of pinch myself, but
it must have been a whirlwind day for a youngster.
I don't know that I really even took it on board because you're so busy, you're just doing it. But when I look back now and I think, you know, what a lovely woman Debbie Harry was, when I worked with her, you know, and how I haven't really had that many bad experiences. People were really fascinating. I got to go to Carly Simon's house in Martha's Vineyard. You know, really, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do anything like that, you know, and then I feel like it was a wonderful time to be able to work with something that you're so passionate about. So when I was wondering what to do up here, and the library wasn't really floating my boat, I watched a really amazing documentary that the actor Jonah Hill did, and he interviews his psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist said, I tell depressed patients to what's their life force, and that was an aha moment for me. And I just thought, well, like, you have to do something that you're passionate about, and I love clothes, so it was really a way of how we could do that here and have it mean something rather than just opening a second-hand clothes shop, you know. So and I think we are on the way to do it. I'd love to have more of them.
So and you were talking perhaps, and maybe a bit early to even mention this, but perhaps taking it online and say that shirt.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I think I haven't reacted as quickly as I possibly should have. But our first thing was we wanted to create a really old-fashioned customer service where we would get to know people. Then we could buy things in for them, contact them when we do get things, or if they're looking for stuff, and we concentrated on that a lot. And Morphin, you know, has been brilliant with the Facebook side of things, but the time that it will take to get us online is so time consuming. It's a bit like PR now, all these social media managers, they could be on it all day 24/7, you know, whereas we were trying to align it with, you know, getting the stuff, getting the relationships built, getting people to recommend us, and that's taken a long time.
And the underlying ethos is spirit of healing. And you can't do that online.
No, and also it has to be a personal thing, because what I've found with people, especially the women that come in here, they want to be listened to, they want to be heard. They're not looking to you to be a counsellor or a therapist. They just want to tell you about their stuff, and whatever it is. And then I always try and bring it back to fashion and go, try that dress on, that'll make you feel better, or something like that, because that's how I feel. And actually it's really great when you see that that you know, fashion has the ability to do that for people.
Not just and for someone that might be isolated from the world, it gives them no opportunity not to go out.
And
because
also,
they can go out and feel good about themselves.
Having grown up at a time where music and fashion was so joined, you know, I love dressing up as you know, in an Aran jumper and a rah-rah skirt to go and see Haircut 100 with my sou'wester, because it was so much fun. And then, you know, all the new romantic stuff from Spandau Ballet and Bananarama. I so wanted to be the fourth person in Bananarama, because it just it was fashion was very playful, and then magazines like The Face.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I wanted to be a
that grew
press
out of
officer,
it.
because I just thought there's all this great youth culture content that you could be part of.
It meant so much to get in The Face, didn't it, as a band?
Completely, yeah.
And it wasn't really to do with music, it was what you're talking about. It was to do with
it was like
the culture.
The kind of hallmark of cool if you got in The Face. I mean, I remember even when I first started talking to journalists.
Did you get a front cover in The Face?
No, I never did, but when I met Cheryl Garrett, I was literally quite a fangirl, because I thought what she'd done with The Face was so incredible. And also, Cheryl looks like me. She's not like a catwalk model, and she just had such a great ideas person. And that was getting to know people, behind all this image of stuff, because so much of it's smoke and mirrors. But I think, you think about what happened with me is a lot of the journalists I knew became broadcasters. So people like Stuart McConey and Andrew Collins and David Quantick, great. They're going to be doing things like that. Graham Linehan, just people who are clearly very talented. Stuart Cosgrove, I listen to On the Ball, and it just makes me laugh, because I remember ringing him about
wherever
bands
I am, whatever country I'm in, it brings me back to Scotland.
Well, apparently, I read an interview with Alan Cumming, and he listens to it because it reminds him of being at home. He's not even like football; it's just their voices. So, I think so much. If you've got Scottish parenting, the Scottish humour, you'll only get that. I mean, I watched Two Doors Down, and I think I'm not sure that English people will get this, and it makes me laugh so much. Still Game, and Elaine C. Smith, and
I've got American friends that come to me for translations for Still Game, but they watch it every week.
No, I know.
So we're in now, and this is the last broadcast before the news is loosed. We're heading to talking about football in Stuart Cosgrove, and I wish Stuart Cosgrove all the very best, but not on Wednesday night, because Ross County are playing St Johnstone on the crunch game of the season, and I'm going with friends who are season ticket holders up here. So after that, we are in Perth, in that area, and at March into Pitlochry for that beautiful little festival, and I'm told that the last of those tickets, folks, are selling at the moment. So if you haven't got your ticket and if you don't know how beautiful Pitlochry is and how great that festival is, then get a ticket. Get yourself to Pitlochry. We'll be there with the Moose doing some broadcasts, some pop-up stuff, and broadcasting some concerts and interviews from there as well. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What a chance encounter, and the next thing I'm on YouTube.
and we've had an audience all the way through, so delighted. Please do leave any comments. I'm sure Dawn will get back to you in the comments frame at some point when she finds her way onto social media eventually. And good luck with all this.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really valuable. Yeah, and can we come and do a wee session in the corner with an artist sometime?
Well, I was almost thinking of inviting the Bluebells when we were opening.
I know, Ken and
be up for that.
Well, Ken and Dave were up for Belladrum last year.
Were they?
Teenage Fan Club were playing Belladrum as well.
Oh, okay.
Ricky Ross in the corner, that'd be fun. But Ken and Dave would do that. Eh?
Yeah, I've seen them with for the label that they're signed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, so keep your eyes on. Come in. Hiya.
I was really disturbing your recording.
Don't worry.
No, we find out that we've got mutual friends dating back to the year dot, mostly in music. And we've also got mutual friends in Nairn as well, so there you go. So we'll be back in Nairn for Belladrum Festival, on the road now until then. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you again.
Thank
this
you.
was lovely. Cheerio.